The fall of Aremnox. In ancient times, in a land ravaged by darkness, there lay a city where the shadow of death reigned supreme. Aremnox, the black fortress of Xantharius, was a citadel where fear and cruelty flowed like an endless storm. Xantharius, a merciless ruler, wielded power beyond human limits, with two serpents that slithered upon his shoulders. These serpents were not merely instruments of his rule, but conduits of communication with the demonic forces that controlled his mind. For years, the scattered tribes of the land cowered in fear, hiding from his wrath. Hope for salvation seemed all but lost, until one man rose to challenge him. Darian, a warrior once enslaved to these dark powers, was now the only one who could defeat them. Once a servant of the demonic forces, Darian now sought to sever the ties that bound the world to them. His only weapon was the magical staff granted to him by these same forces, a staff that could sever the serpent's control and break the demonic connection forever. Luca, a warrior from the vengeful tribe of Thornhold, joined Darian in this perilous quest. Thornhold had long sought vengeance against Xantharius, whose minions had slaughtered half of their people. For years they had waited for the moment to strike back. Together they made their way to the gates of Aremnox, a journey fraught with peril and darkness. The cold stone walls and the unending burning rain reflected the bleakness of the land. Yet their resolve never faltered. At last, they stood before the massive gates of the fortress. With a silent look of determination, they entered. Inside, the air was heavy with despair. The walls were slick with moisture and stained with the dried blood of those who had fallen. The halls were eerily silent, save for the presence of the mind-controlled slaves, bound to Xantharius by his serpents. Finally, they reached the grand hall. Xantharius, regal and formidable, sat upon a stone throne. His serpents moved restlessly, their eyes glowing with a sinister light. Darian and Luca knew that only one path remained. They had to end his reign. Xantharius spoke, his voice booming. "Another fool dares to face me? Do you think you can succeed where others have failed?" His serpents twisted and writhed, as if preparing to strike, while the whispers of the demonic forces pressed into Darian's mind. For a moment, the weight of their influence threatened to overwhelm him. But Darian was no longer the servant he once was. With a firm grip on his magical staff, he shattered it with the force of the special power granted to him. The shards of the staff glowed with a brilliant blue light, piercing through the serpent's eyes, and they began to writhe and convulse. The roar of destruction echoed through the halls as Xantharius screamed in agony, falling from his throne. The serpents struggled to free themselves from the staff's power, but it was too late. Luca, standing by Darian's side, watched as Xantharius lay defeated. The fortress began to crumble around them, and the darkness that had ruled the earth for so long began to recede. Darian, weary but resolute, gazed around the collapsing citadel. The world, once suffocated by shadows, was finally beginning to breathe again. This is the dawn of the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more content like this. Thank you for your support.